Some of you might wonder if autistic people like to play video games. To answer that question, I haven't met any other autistic people who doesn't like to play video games. But what kind of games do they like, though? Well, I started with Mario prominently. But I played the very first Super Mario Bros. Video game on one of those tiny multi-game consoles that you'd buy at the mall. My family bought one of them while we were out of town one day. But before I played Super Mario Bros. On that little console, I played one of the NES Flintstones games. I also played Guitar Hero, the Lego games, and some video games based on TV shows, primarily on Game Boy Advance and PlayStation 2. I mostly stuck with what I knew, but some of the games I played back then that I didn't really enjoy back then, I enjoy way more now as an adult, such as Donkey Kong 64 and Banjo-Kazooie. I'll admit, though, I do tend to get overly competitive with the CPU, primarily in games like Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart, to the point where I'd ask myself, does gaming bring out the worst in me? I probably would have never gotten into the older video games if it weren't for my dad buying some of the older consoles, like Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, and Sega Genesis. But I really started to get into older video games when I watched The Irate Gamer on YouTube. I did also watch Angry Video Game Nerd, but back then, I honestly thought they were the same person. By watching them, my interest grew in older video games, and I eventually got an NES to play some of the classics, such as Super Mario Bros. 3. I even owned a copy of the infamous Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde video game on NES. And back then, I didn't even know there was such a thing as bad games. I just passed it off as one of those joke games that you're not supposed to beat. And believe me, I only played Jekyll and Hyde once, and I never played it again after that first time. Nowadays, as much as I'm still into games like Mario, I also love playing Zelda games, RPGs, Metroidvanias, collectathons, basically any game that allows me to explore, collect items, and upgrade my characters in some way. The very first Zelda game I ever fully played was Wind Waker HD on Wii U, but I fully became a Zelda fan when I played Breath of the Wild. As for how I got into Metroid, I got into the series so I can pay my respects to those who waited for Metroid Dread for so long when it got announced. I tried playing Metroid Fusion first, on my 3DS because I was part of the 3DS Ambassador program, but I lost my charger and my 3DS was running out of power. So while I was on the quest to get a new charger for my 3DS, I was playing Super Metroid on the Nintendo Switch Online service, and I really liked it. Eventually I got Zero Mission on Wii U, and Samus Returns on 3DS. But way long before then, the very first Metroidvania game I played was Hollow Knight. Over the past few weeks, I've been playing Earthbound for the first time, and I've gotta say, it's probably one of the best Super Nintendo games I've ever played. I originally couldn't get into Earthbound because I couldn't get past the opening part of it, not knowing that I had to go back to the house in order to progress further into the story. But thanks to the wonders of the internet, I finally broke through and started playing it like there was no tomorrow. I might play Earthbound Beginnings, the NES game for the Earthbound series, another time, but I would love for Nintendo to make the sequel to Earthbound, titled Mother 3 in Japan, accessible to everyone by localizing it and making it playable on Switch Online. Or better still, why not remake all 3 games and bring them up to modern standards, preferably in a 3-pack. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.